Welcome to the League of Women Voters 2014 election coverage. I'm Diz Swift with the League of Women Voters of Berkeley, Albany, and Emeryville. This is one of a series of programs designed to showcase candidates for Berkeley City Council and the Berkeley School Board. And today we're meeting candidates from District 1, which is in the northwest quadrant of the city. From left to right, we have Linda Maio, Alejandro Soto-Vigil, and Merrilie Mitchell. Welcome.
Thank you.
We'll ask each of you the same question, and you'll all have 1 minute. Each of you will have 1 minute to answer. And we'll rotate, so that first we'll begin with Linda, next time we'll have Alejandro, and next time we'll have Merrilie, and rotate around. So you'll each have a chance to be first and a chance to be last. And if direct statements are said, that a rebuttal will be allowed, and that will not count in the time. So let's begin with you, Linda.
Okay.
Remember, we have 1 minute, and this is a general question. So you'll have to prioritize. What are the highest priority needs for the entire city of Berkeley?
Let me begin by thanking the League for having this a forum for the candidates. I appreciate it a great deal. We have different needs in different parts of the city, but I think overall one of the overarching concerns in the city, across the city, are public safety and adequate services for that. Basic services, sort of like housekeeping. After that, there's different sectors that are experiencing different issues. In particular, we have an affordable housing, what I would call a crisis in the city of Berkeley. We have people who are seniors, who are on fixed incomes, who are looking for places to live, even if they must live together, because they really can't afford to live in Berkeley. And it's not just Berkeley, it's the whole East Bay, actually, because we're feeling a lot of pressure. Secondly, I think there's a mental health crisis in Berkeley. We see people on the street who really shouldn't be there, and we have failed them, I think, socially. And so addressing that need would be critical to me.
Thank you. Alejandro?
Yes, thank you for this show. Councilmember Maio had indicated affordable housing is a great need, and that's absolutely true. But we shouldn't be in a crisis mode right now. I have a solution to solve that problem. That's the windfall profits on mega landlords here in Berkeley who are really raising prices on rentals, but extracting our money out of this town. We need to have that money come back, and I have a plan for that. Also, minimum wage. We have a lot of minimum wage employees here in this town, but yet we don't have an adequate minimum wage to make a near living wage. What the council had passed recently is not adequate. It's $28,000 a year in 2016, and that is not enough. We have a climate action plan that's fantastic, but we need money in that fund. Moreover, the city employees need someone who was a former city employee, I'm currently a city employer, and will really stop privatizing our city jobs.
Thank you, Alejandro. Merrilie?
Yeah, I think sunshine is one of them. Sunshine in our neighborhoods as well as government. And what I mean in our neighborhoods, when they come to do development, build big development, and then another development comes, then they block the sunshine that's shining in the windows. And the same thing in an individual home, in the single family home neighborhoods. And what happens is that I guess I'm uncomfortable being looked at that close, so you're going to have to look someplace else.
No
So what happens is that sunlight coming through windows is 25% efficient, and that's way better than solar. And when we block that, and so development is a big thing, taking parking from people, selling off parking lots for nothing to build affordable housing, that's political-based housing as far as I'm concerned, and the developer controls the price, so it's never affordable. And am I done?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
A minute goes fast.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's move to your district, District 1. What are the critical needs in your district, and how do they differ from the rest of the city? Alejandro.
Yes, I've been fortunate enough to be a legislative aide on the Berkeley City Council for 5.5 years. I've seen the issues in District 1 rise up, and essentially there's several components to what District 1 needs. One, we need air quality we have manufacturing in West Berkeley, and recently I have helped the residents in West Berkeley. There was 93 residents, business owners, and employees who have asked the city over the last 15, 20 years some responsiveness on the air quality issues, and they haven't gotten that. And so I'm going to be leading that charge, and I've been working with the residents to do that. That's one issue. We need crime reduction, obviously, and so I believe that we need to have a gun and bullet buyback program. Oakland did that, San Francisco did that. We need to do that. Moreover, we have traffic issues, and that's why I ask everyone to vote for Measure BB. We need traffic control fixtures in Berkeley, and affordable housing again. And we need a responsive representative in District 1, and I will be that person.
Thank you. Merrilie.
Okay. When I ask residents in District 1, the two that come up all the time are development and parking. And the parking's vanishing. I don't drive a car, but what happens is it's duplicitous. The problem is that the current city council members are selling parking lots for like $1 for developers to develop so-called affordable housing that turns out never to be affordable. And meanwhile, the university is flooding the city, and they're up to 45,000 students now with 30, and I thought that was the ceiling. And so they're flooding it, they don't know where to go. The residents can't park down, they get one ticket, and they're gone off to El Cerrito, so they have to drive more. So forget the climate action plan, because it doesn't work if they're forcing those people to drive more. And so on air, I agree on the air, but they've set the air board, Tom Bates, our mayor, the head of it, people at times, they've set the bar so high that they're not, it's ridiculous whatever they do.
Thank
and they
you.
never get stuck. Okay.
Thank you, Merrilie. Linda.
Great, thank you. So air quality is really a major issue in quite West Berkeley. The city doesn't have statutory authority over that. The Air District does, but we work with them very closely, and I've done that since 2008. And since that time, we've conducted a health risk assessment. We've had monitoring near Picante just to see just what's in the air. We've done a lot of work with Pacific Steel Casting to put control technology on. The complaints are way down. We just negotiated a deal, my office did, with Berkeley Asphalt to reduce their emissions by their volatile organic carbon emissions by 50%, which is quite major. We still have work to do, but you keep working on those issues. Water quality and flooding is a big issue in District 1. That's where the water goes when we have a major storm, which we should hopefully have soon, and the tide is high, so it just hits right there and backs up into West Berkeley. It's not just the flooding, but there's also water quality issues that maybe I can address later.
Thank you. Thank you. A minute is very short.
It is short.
Yes. It was raised about development. Berkeley has a really unique culture. It's a great culture and style that some of us think is one of the best parts of living here. We have a robust artisan community, especially in West Berkeley. We have mom and pop stores, and we want to buy Berkeley. Is it possible to retain that culture and that style and still have the development that we need for some of these issues we've raised, like housing? Merrilie.
Well, it's too much development, and the development that they're making, for example, the building that's been in the paper, the 18-story building at the Bank of America, I'd rather keep the Bank of America. The 18-story building would have so many variances, and the variances dumb down the high standards that we have in the code. And then when it goes to the zoning board, we've got the same people on the council pretty much for years, and so it's stacked on the zoning board so that they agree with all the variances. So what that does, a friend of mine says it's making really, really poor buildings. And in the future, we're going to be paying for them. They're going to need all kinds of retrofits. And so I believe we can do it, but I believe that the mayor's plan for the big development is nuts. And I believe that most people have no clue even what, I've interviewed 300 people and they don't know what Plan Bay Area is, which came in last summer, and it sets up a regional government. And we're not going to have any power anymore.
Thank you, Merrilie. Thank you. Linda.
Oh, thank you. So years ago, when we passed the neighborhood preservation ordinance, We made an agreement, actually, culturally, citywide, that we wouldn't put major development in the neighborhoods. We would protect them. So we need to have more housing for people because Berkeley has a housing jobs imbalance. More jobs, fewer housing units. So where do they go? If they don't go into the neighborhoods, which we all totally agree with, then they have to go on the major corridors and the development has to go downtown. That's why we have focused so much on the downtown, because we have good public transit there. In my district, the cars come flooding in from the north through our neighborhoods, and that's not okay. The commute traffic just has to be cut. And one way to do that is to actually bring people to live in the downtown where we have transit.
Okay, thank you. Alejandro.
So I take it your question is about how can we support local businesses?
Really, it's can we keep the culture of small businesses, artisan community, and so on, and still have the development that we need?
Okay, so we need to streamline permitting to support small businesses. We need to close the corporate loophole, and when we have a vacant storefront for longer than a year, we need to tax them, because when a storefront is vacant, we have less traffic and it hurts everyone. The council had an opportunity, including the incumbent, to create a fee for these vacant storefronts, and it was not done. And it's still put off over and over and over, including this last council meeting. And so I think we need to encourage more co-ops like Cheese Board, and we have the Loan Administrative Board that offers small business loans, and I think we should be able to do that and really promote that program. And really, at the end of the day, increase minimum wage to a substantial level, because the more money people make, the more money they spend, and they spend at the local level.
Thank you. So we're talking about development. On the topic of economic...
Do I get to answer that one or not?
You began.
Oh, I did?
Yes,
I didn't recognize it when it came around. Thank you.
Yes, and thank you for that. But on the topic of economic growth and development, so adding in the economic growth piece, one of the measures on the ballot is Measure R, which seeks to make changes to our current downtown plan. What is your opinion of Measure R, and why? Linda?
Oh, I oppose Measure R. We spent so much time, process, meetings, planning commissioners, special processes, special committees to plan the downtown so we could actually have that rich environment down there and support all of the things that we want down there, including housing, money to go into affordable housing. And now this measure on the ballot will just turn back the clock on all of that work that was done. It's really unfortunate that it happened that way. If there could have been some changes, maybe they could have been proposed, because the council has flexibility to change the original measure. In this new measure, which I oppose, you can't change anything. Once it's set in stone, it's set in stone.
Thank you. Alejandro?
Yeah, so Measure R, this Measure R, is a result of the City Council's essentially being for developers without community benefits. And what Measure R does is, I have a list here that I wanted to share with the viewers. One, it's revising the green vision. And what that means is we get bike parking for every room that's developed. 11 electrical charging stations per building. We get on-site units of affordable housing, 10% guaranteed, with an additional 10% option, and the developer can either pay that or build them. And that's a potential 20% on-site affordable housing. And that is so important if we're trying to have a diverse community and keep a multi-mix of economic backgrounds around. When it comes to 75-foot or above buildings, 10% is 2 bedrooms, and another 10% is 3 bedrooms.
Thank you, Alejandro.
Yes.
Thank you.
Height.
Merrilie?
Well, Measure R protects our commons, which are so important if we're going to have a democracy. And the buildings that are there, when we had the day pack, I went to every meeting, and people said, keep that commons area with the post office, city hall, etc., the farmers market area, keep that exactly the way it was. And everybody agreed, everybody that I remember. And it's because of the trees and the sunlight and the beautiful buildings. And you have your council meetings, you go to the post office, you see your friends, rather than the vision of the Plan Bay Area that people don't know about is really tall buildings, fast buses that don't really take the people that ride buses where they need to go. And so I want to protect those commons, and the other parts of this measure are really good, because what I was saying about the variances, they say, no, you've got to have these lead buildings that we always talk about and don't do. And we need that because we need to protect the people and prevent earthquakes, etc.
Thank you. We've talked a little bit about the climate action plan. When we first formulated that, or said that we wanted a climate action plan, Berkeley voted for it with over 80%. So I think we have a real strong support in our community. And we've now put together that plan, and we've got recognition internationally and nationally. But how effective do you really think that climate action plan is, and what, if anything, should we do differently? Alejandro.
Yeah, thank you for the question. You know, as a legislative aide, I've overseen quite a number of interns, and one of the interns this year in our office this summer is a climate action plan specialist. And she's out of the Portland State as a grad student, and what she did was look at not only our climate action plan, but climate action plans around the country. And the number one thing we need to do is have a sustainable funding source so that we can actually get things done. What I think we ought to do is, if we're asking residents to solarize their houses, why isn't the city solarizing their buildings? Secondly, I believe we firmly need to have electrical charging stations in Berkeley. Richmond surpasses us in all kinds of other areas. When my aunt comes to Berkeley, she's always looking, where do I charge my electrical car? And we need those here in Berkeley, to start at least.
Thank you.
Remember
Merrilie.
what I said before, that the most efficient kind of like heat is coming through the glass windows. It's 25% effective, whereas solar cells is just a little bit. And so when we block that by big buildings for all the affordable housing, which to me is political-based housing, because we don't ever get what we want, it's not very good. And so it's political-based housing because the machine that's been running Berkeley for many, many years is, they're not like homeowners. We're down to 41% homeowners, but they can turn out people. They can get into those buildings, Patrick Kennedy, whatever, and they hand out little slate cards and they tell you to vote for whoever, Obama, say, and then all the taxes and whatever. But we have taxes galore. The thing about the plan, it's phony green baloney because it takes the people in Berkeley out of the residents who pay the taxes out of their cars. They can't shop locally. They got to go out of the city. And then the university is flooding, and that shows the phoniness there. There are other ways, if I could point to the charts and stuff like that. It's been phony all along. I delayed it for 2 or 3 years because of the phony baloney.
Thank you, Merrilie. Linda.
Thank you. So we recently got a report from our climate action plan specialist, and we're doing very well in Berkeley, but we're not doing well enough. And so what we know is that even if we look at the outer years, we know we're going to need definitely help from the state, particularly in CAFE automobile standards. But Berkeley has a chance to join with other East Bay communities to do community choice aggregation, which means we pull together and buy our power together ourselves. It's a long name for doing that. And if we can do that, we hope to be able to drive the market so that we can push for more solar, for more wind, for more sustainable energy. It's going to happen on that larger level, not just in Berkeley.
Thank you. So for the last question, we'll each have 40 seconds instead of a full minute, which is even more challenging. And I'd like to go back to the ballot for this one. One of the measures is Measure D, which would impose a general tax on distributors of sugar-sweetened beverages. So let's start with you, Merrilie. How do you feel about Measure D?
I'm for it because of education reasons. We need to do something, but it was unconscionable that the last minute they took that, which was supposed to be for alternatives, the money for alternatives, and they put it in the general fund. Linda's running this program. I couldn't believe it, but I'm still for the concept because we need to educate people. But I had an idea. For example, we should try other things like this. We need to start doing things right away because right in front of Berkeley High, you could have a food court. Instead of have the kids go to McDonald's and get their Cokes and junk, you'd only have really healthy food, like Zachary's
Thank
Pizza,
you.
whole wheat. Oh,
Thank you.
Okay.
Linda.
Good. So this is critically important. Our kids are being hospitalized for diabetes at an alarming rate now. We chose to put a measure on that would only need 50% plus one of the voters because we want it to pass. The industry will throw tons of money at this. The fact is we have support all across the city, from organizations, from churches, from healthcare, big authors. We will make sure that money is spent on our kids. The important thing is for us to understand who's funding the opposition, which is the soda industry, the beverage industry, and make sure we vote yes on Measure D, which I am on the executive committee for in November to address our kids' crisis in health.
Thank you. Alejandro.
Yes, in 2012, I helped Richmond with their measure. Unfortunately, we lost there. I support the measure here in Berkeley. But what lessons are learned is that voters don't like general fund measures. But on council, if I get elected, I will definitely make sure that this money goes to health issues. You know, Latino and African American youth are at an alarming rate being disproportionate, affected from, you know, sweetened beverages. And, you know, I could just look at my friends from high school and growing up, they're obese. I don't drink that stuff all the time. I mean, everyone in this country has drinks it because it's readily available, but okay.
Thank you. Okay, so we'd like to give you each 2 minutes to tell us why we should vote for you. Linda.
Okay, thank you. I'm purely running on my track record. I've been on the council for a couple of decades now, and I started off creating Ohlone Park with my neighbors. I then started a nonprofit housing organization, which has gone on to do wonderful things. Very early in my career, I eliminated 33 gun dealers from kitchen table gun dealers. I'm now very focused on the things that I talked about earlier, improving our watershed and continuing to work on slowing that water down, cleaning it up so that what we put in the bay is not polluted. We all can look at what happens in our streets. We know what's in the gutters. Well, when it's a big storm, guess what? That all lands in the bay. And so it's important for us to slow that down, to make the watershed improvements in the plan that I put forward, slowing things down, retention wells, permeable paving, swales, slow it down, clean it up, continue to work on improving air quality, continuing to work on closing the achievement gap in the schools, which I've been very focused on, particularly early childhood education is so critical to our kids being successful. So I am endorsed by the Sierra Club, by the National Women's Political Caucus, the firefighters in the city of Berkeley, Senator Hancock, Assemblymember Skinner, the entire Berkeley School Board, the building trades, members of the Library Foundation. There are very many more, over 150 at lindamaio.org that people can actually go to. I'm particularly concerned too that we step up and address the mental health services that are abysmally too low in our city. Every time we see a person on the street that's on the street in crisis, they should not be there. We should have services that address that. Thank you.
Thank you. Alejandro.
Thank you. I'm running because I feel like there's a void in leadership in District 1. There's been a long time working across the hall from District 1 where eventually people call our office, and I've been working in Councilman Worthington's office, and I solve District 1 problems. And also I look, there's nobody between the ages of 31 and 59 on the city council. I mean, that's 3 decades. There's nobody with school-age children, you know, on council, and that's also a missing piece. You know, I come from a family of activists, and I've been doing activism work since I was 15 years old. And I have a drive, I have a passion, I love people, I love to work for people, I like to solve issues. District 1 needs that type of leadership. We need to end privatization of our city workforce, and that's why Dolores Huerta endorsed me. That's why SEIU 1021 endorsed me. That's why the Labor Council did a dual endorsement, because not many people can get a dual endorsement when they're facing a challenge, an incumbent for 22 years. Gail McLaughlin, the mayor of Richmond, supports me because she knows I'm a true environmental leader. I believe in a regional approach to air quality controls, and I went to the Bay Area Air Quality Management District last week to fight for their for their struggles, because I know they're going to come and help us fight for ours. And I'm a true fighter for the people, and I will be fighting for District 1, and I hope I can get your support.
Thank you.
Okay,
Merrilie.
I'm a real independent, but I like many of the people, like Alejandro, if he's on the council. I'll still like him, but everybody on the council pretty much I've worked on something at one time or another with. But I go to many, many meetings, and for example, I watched the sugar tax come down, and it was a 2/3 tax for alternatives, and Dr. Vicki Alexander, and she's an Afro-American, and many Latinos and Afro-Americans, they said it was for alternatives, and then slam dunk, I didn't even know, I got up speaking for it because I favored doing something about it. It goes into the general fund, and there's no strings. That's not okay. And so I watch it, I see this all the time with things. The Climate Action Plan truly is phony in many ways. And so we're not getting to all those little wonderful things that are there that everybody should be doing, and we're losing it. But guess what? UC made their grade 2 years ago or 3 years ago. Guess why? Because they're flooding our city with cars, and we're paying for it. The homeowners are getting stuck with it. They don't pay for the cars. Just go downtown. I can hardly breathe when I go downtown, which is often. When I get home, I cannot smell a rose for 4 or 5 days. And so the air is really bad. It shouldn't be bad downtown, but it's all this traffic from people that shouldn't be there. UC shouldn't be flooding our downtown. Our own people should be able to go there and keep our small businesses alive. But instead, we have 7 Walgreens. Hello? Tell me, is that okay? And there's all kinds of phony baloney. There was no opposition to the mayor's plan to do all this wonderful development that Linda told us about. I'm not going to go into who did it, but he's sitting here, and he knows. He dropped the ball. There was no opposition at all. And so I'm sorry, I was trying to look down here at some of the sunshine issues and the, let's see. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I'm done? Thank you.
I'd like to thank the candidates. It was very interesting, and it seems like a short period here, just a half an hour to get through all of this. So for more information, you can look on on either candidates or ballot measures. Go to smartvoter.org, which is the League website. You can also go to the League website for the League of Women Voters of Berkeley, Albany, and Emeryville. That's easy to remember, the first 3 letters of each of those, lwvbae.org. We will be posting pros and cons, and we'll be, for candidate information though, do go to smartvoter.org. So thank you all for watching, and don't forget to vote.